studies. He has written an essay about of studies. So can you give a recap of what is your understanding?
So I have no idea actually. I didn't attend the last class, so I have no idea
No,
about
no, no, no. I have not started this class. It is not taught by me. Rather, it's done
it.
by the other teacher. Right. So I do not know about it. I do not know what is your comprehension, what is your understanding about the lesson. So here I'm only doing a recapping, a revising. Please.
I have no idea about the chapter.
This is one chapter wherein each and every student should go through this essay, because Francis Bacon was such a writer. He was directly talking to his readers when he was writing essays. He was not writing it, rather he was connecting, and it was very suggestive, connective, and people could correlate to his experiences of life. Whatever he wrote about was according to his experience. And he is one person who talks a lot about practicality. He talks about, he's not very much interested in the theory part. He is not at all interested, not very much interested in the theory, but he would like to take the studies in a practical part. For example, if you're a doctor and you have never practiced, you're a surgeon and you have never performed any operation. So what happens over here? People go to experienced doctors. Why? Because if you one person who is just trying his hands, nobody will come to you, and you may go wrong because you may have all the theory, you may have all the skills and knowledge, you may have mugged up the entire lesson, but what about practicality? A person who is a very good singer and he loses his interest in the riyaz. Or you may be wanting to become a good singer, and in your diary there will be 500 songs. But will that make you a good singer? In your diary, there are 500 songs. Your hobbies can be singing, and you have in your diary some very beautiful songs which you have compiled. But that is not going to make you a good singer. And what will make you a good singer is your riyaz, your practicing, your performing. Your performance will make you a singer. By just saying that, yes, I know so many songs, and you have mugged it all by heart, but you have never sang. So he combines theory. He gives less marks to, if you make a pie chart, he'll give very little marks to theory, and he's going to give a lot of marks to the practical approach. He also says that studies serve for delight. It means when you learn something new, you feel happy. Yes, I've learned something today. This is personal happiness. Studies give you personal happiness. It's a very private affair. He says that studies is a very private affair. You study for yourself. You do not study for X, Y, Z. When teachers give you homework, you are not studying for the teacher. You're not studying to impress the teacher, but you're studying for yourself, that you will gain knowledge. So he says studies is a very private affair, and studies gives us delight. He says studies is a ornament. The same when you wear good dresses, when you wear jewelry, it enhances your beauty. And studies enhances your personality. The way you walk, the way you talk, the way you behave becomes effective. People sit up and notice. When you start speaking, they'll know that this person is a well-read person. Here comes an educated person. There is a lot of difference between a person who is educated, the way he speaks, the way he behaves, and a person who is an uneducated or illiterate. So, studies enhances your personality. It teaches you, it makes you capable. It makes you skillful. It shapes up your career. And it gives birth to your profession, whether you want to be a doctor, an engineer, a programmer, a manager. Without studies, it is just not possible. You must have read in your first year, like little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Either you go deep down and drink the Pyrenean spring, or you climb the highest mountain to know a particular subject. The foolish, what Bacon says, the foolish condemn studies. पढ़ के क्या होगा? मैं तो पैसे देकर पास कर जाऊंगा. I will throw money and I'll pass. But will that give you happiness? No. Even if you top, even if you're an university topper, you will not be happy because you've not done anything. You have you have bought your mark sheet. So it says foolish people condemn studies. क्या करेंगे क्लास करके? पास ही ना करना है, पास कर जाए. कैसे पास करेंगे? चीटिंग करके. चीटिंग करके पास कर भी जाते हो आप, तो will that give you the happiness? खुद से पढ़ाई करके अगर आप 60 भी लाते हैं, you will feel good. This is my worth, and you will be satisfied because I have studied for this and I have not cheated. Even that 40-50 will be giving you that happiness. आप खुद के बल पे आपने पास किया. So studies, foolish people condemn studies. वो लोग सोचते हैं क्या फायदा पढ़ने से? कोई फायदा ही नहीं है. Many people I've interviewed, they've said, मैम हमको जॉब नहीं करना है. क्यों नहीं क्लास कर रहे हो इंटरव्यू स्किल्स का? हमको जॉब नहीं करना. क्यों? वो पापा ने मेरे लिए वो बात कर चुके हैं, वो मेरा हो जाएगा काम. काम हो जाएगा. ऐसे लोग स्किल डेवलप हो सकता है क्या? उनको काम मिल भी जाता है. Even if you get the job, can you retain it? Can you retain a job when you're not skilled? So Bacon says foolish people condemn studies. So what happens? Normal people, like some people who admire studies. There are people who condemn. There are people who admire studies. Somebody has become an IAS. Somebody has become manager in HDFC. Your CIMAGE, your students have done so good and they are working. They are successful. And you admire. क्या CIMAGE की लड़की है जो इतना अच्छा कर रही है. इसका इंटरव्यू आप देखते होंगे सर के साथ. lot of students, even BBM students, BBA students, they're doing well. तो आप उसको admire करते हैं. Some people admire, but the wise people, they use their studies. So category बना हुआ है. Foolish people condemn studies. Normal people admire studies. ठीक है भाई बहुत अच्छा है. तुमको इतना हाँ तो बहुत अच्छा है. तुम क्यों नहीं कर सकते? तुम admire करते रहोगे क्या? And the wise people, they use their knowledge and skill. Further along, he says that just as sports is important for physical health, any sports, exercise, similarly, studies is the exercise of the mind, which is going to solve all the problems. Just as exercises help you to improve your physical, your health. Like he says, when people are having some problems with the abdomen, a game like bowling is very important because they bend down and they throw the ball and their whole abdomen is massaged. That helps them in their problems. So different sports for different kinds of ailments. Similarly, he says that different subjects are required for people, different persons who are lacking in concentration. They should study maths. जो फोकस नहीं हो पाते, कॉन्सेंट्रेट नहीं कर पाते हैं, उन लोगों को क्या पढ़ना चाहिए? मैथ पढ़ना चाहिए, जिसकी कम्युनिकेशन बहुत खराब है. लिटरेचर, पोएट्री. This is not what I am saying. This is Francis Bacon who is saying. People who cannot form sentences, people who cannot are not good at communication, literature, stories, poetry, people who cannot convince others, जो convince नहीं कर पाते, ऐसे लोगों को law पढ़ना जरूरी है. I am talking about Francis Bacon. I'm not giving my point of view. All this you must have read in Francis Bacon's Obstacles. And finally, he says that some books are to be discarded. Do not read everything in the print. इसलिए कि print में है उसको आप पढ़ना नहीं. Some books are to be condemned, discarded, नहीं पढ़ना, rejected. Some books, read it, but not thoroughly. बस like stories, ठीक है पढ़ो जरूरी है. Skip it, read it. But some books are to be chewed and digested. मतलब एक लफ्ज, एक word, उसको समझिए, उसको पढ़िए. For example, your course books. Somebody was asking about objective type questions. If you will not know the entire content, you cannot attempt the MCQs. Now, supposing if I give you MCQs on off studies, now I have already given you, explained a lot of things. Now I think you can answer the questions. तो कह तो रहे, the foolish people condemn studies. अपना परिचय तो खुद ही दे रहे हो तुम. क्या करना पड़ता है? तो सब दिया हुआ है. So this was of studies by Francis Bacon. Let us start with the girl sitting there. Yes. What have you understood, Adiba? Have you logged in? Anybody who has logged in, please speak, because the students who are online will not be able to hear you, and whatever they will say, you will not be able to hear. So it is best for you to log in. Can anybody please raise your hands and answer the question? What have you understood by Francis Bacon as discussed today? First, log in.
Study is very important for us because without study we are not able to survive or communicate with others. And for studies, for concentration, we have to practice math, especially about math. For good communication, we have to practice or read literature.
Sit down. That was the last part. Yes, next.
He explained how and why study is important. Study is the final purpose of the life. He opposes that study because the person become lazy and well-hearted in society.
That's it. And yes, he also talks about the disadvantage of studies. There are some disadvantages of studies. First of all, there are some disadvantages of studies. सबसे बड़ा disadvantage होता है जो बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ता है lazy हो जाता है. A person becomes very lazy because वो एक जगह पे बैठा रहता है और वहीं पे वो पढ़ते 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 वो becomes lazy. उसकी मामा उसके आगे वहीं चाय दे देती है, वहीं नाश्ता भी दे देती है, तो the person becomes very lazy and he does not want to go out because he is quite comfortable in his room. So he's getting all the food, everything in his room. So studies makes, number one, makes you lazy. Number two, so please write down the first disadvantage of taking studies is that it makes people lazy. वो एक जगह बैठा रहता है और वो बाहर भी नहीं निकलता है and for long hours बहुत पढ़ता है. Second advantage is that those who study quite a lot, वो एक show off करने लग जाते हैं. वो अपना स्किल को दिखाना चाहते हैं, दुनिया को दिखाना चाहते हैं कि मैं बहुत पढ़ा लिखा हूँ. They become show off. First है, they become lazy. Secondly, they become a show off in the society. They try to show their skills everywhere and everywhere, anywhere, everywhere. तीसरा है, they become so successful that the success goes to their head. They become proud. वो घमंड हो जाता है कि मैं इतना पढ़ा लिखा. तो फ्रांसिस बेकन ने स्टडीज के बारे में भी जब एडवांटेजेस लिखवाया है तो उन्होंने पॉइंट आउट किया है कि जिस तरह से एवरी कॉइन हैज टू साइड्स, स्टडीज का भी वो निकाल के सामने रखी है these are the disadvantages of studies. It makes you lazy, it makes you a show off, and it makes you proud. वो स्मार्ट तो है ही है, बिकॉज बहुत पढ़े लिखे हैं वो, लेकिन बहुत पढ़े लिखे हैं तो इसको जताना जरूरी है क्या? जैसे एक बंदा पेपर नहीं पढ़ता है, एक दिन वो पेपर पढ़ लेता है, उसके बाद आकर के मालूम पड़ जाता, बस बस भाई समझ गए। थोड़ी बहुत इंग्लिश की क्लास कर लिए, कहीं रेस स्पेस में पैसे दे करके, पैसे खर्च किए हैं तो कुछ शो ऑफ करेंगे ना, और वो आते हैं तो शो ऑफ करना शुरू करते हैं। जो बंदा हिंदी में बोल रहा है उससे भी इंग्लिश में बोल रहे हैं। There are a lot of people जो हिंदी में बात अगर करी जाए तो जवाब देते हैं इंग्लिश में। थंब रूल क्या है? You can always start in English, but if somebody is replying in Hindi, आप immediately हिंदी में बात कीजिए। You cannot become a show off क्या वो बहुत इंग्लिश आती है और ऐसे ऐसे टर्म्स यूज कर रहे हैं आप, बंदा तो समझ ही नहीं रहा आप बोल किस ले रहे हो। So you cannot show off in the class. Somebody can be very good at English, but that does not mean that everybody will be is good at English and they will understand you. ठीक है? इसे हम लोग जो क्लास लेते हैं, especially in the bridge class or the first year, we try to mix Hindi and English, more of Hindi than English. But in second year, we start with complete English, little bit of Hindi here and there if somebody asks. So three advantages, disadvantages here pointed out, that it makes you lazy, it makes you proud, and it makes you a show off. Yes, now Anshu Rani, tell me what you have understood, beta. Have you logged in? Then sit down and speak in the camera. Microphone. बताइए आपको जो भी समझ में आया आपको।
Francis Bacon told him that बोलते हैं कि
Francis Bacon says that according to
according to Francis Bacon that study is more important to our education, to a colleges the knowledge, and very important literature is more important.
The first line is the studies give you delight. Studies make you happy. तो मैंने बहुत सिंपल तरीके से बता दिया, आपको खुशी देती है।
Yes, ma'am.
और नई चीज सीखते हो तो आपको खुशी मिलती है। न्यू वर्ड आप जानते हो, एक्साइटमेंट मिल जाता है।
Yes,
So excited. Students should always be excited to learn something.
Yes, ma'am.
When you want to learn something, it will give you happiness. लेकिन अगर सीखने की इच्छा है ही नहीं, तो हैप्पीनेस में नहीं है। और स्टडीज आपकी पर्सनालिटी को सजा देता है, डेकोरेट आपकी स्पीकिंग स्टाइल को चेंज कर देता है, कम्युनिकेशन एनहांस करता है, पूरी पर्सनालिटी आपकी डेवलप हो जाती है। Studies makes you capable, सक्षम बनाता है।
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. What have you understood?
Ma'am, I understood that according to Franz Bacon, study makes
Francis Bacon.
Francis Bacon, study study makes you happy. Study advantage नहीं बताना. It is advantage of study. Study makes you delight, makes you happy, gives your personality to
All right.
development.
Why does Francis Bacon point? Why does he point out that theory is not that important and practical is something which we have to take into care? Why does he say that?
Because ma'am, in according to me, ma'am, practical, our mind consume what we are doing, and makes you understand easily that what we are doing, and what we are going through.
Because practice makes you perfect.
Perfect, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Vinny, what have you understood? If somebody is lacking in focus, concentration, what should he study and why? Hmm?
According to Francis Bacon's benefits of studies in individual daily lives, from reading newspaper to writing newspaper.
No, 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 no. If somebody is lacking in concentration, what should he study?
He should study maths
Why?
because we should concentrate one question maths for 15 minutes or 20 minutes. If question will not deal, then we will go ahead for half an hour also for one question. We will concentrate that question.
Yes, you with the black mask. How does studies help you? According to Francis Bacon, what does study provide? Hmm? The person behind. How does Francis Bacon compare physical health and mental health? How does he compare physical health and mental health?
Because the study is
इधर देख के बोलिए. सर आप तुम बोलो. Hmm? Hmm? No. I have repeated twice. Here's the person behind you. I already repeated twice. Okay, the third time I'm repeating. How does Francis Bacon compare mental health to physical health?
what is knowledge for physical?
Acquiring knowledge for physical health.
What
Please be clear.
what is knowledge for physical health?
Mhm.
Study is knowledge for mental health.
Yes. person sitting next to you. मैंने क्वेश्चन पूछा कहाँ? What has Bacon pointed appointed about books? The same question is for Sarah. Yes, what? Yes? No. Wrong answer. नहीं वो क्वेश्चन ही नहीं था. What does it say about certain books? करने तो दो. तुमको तो कच्चा जवाब है. Some books को डिस्कार्ड करो, कुछ बुक्स को बस ऊपर से पढ़ो और कुछ बुक्स को digest. All right, people in the last row over there. Hello. What does he talk about foolish people? Hello. Foolish people. तुमको foolish नहीं बता रहे हैं. What does Francis Bacon talk about foolish people? Shut up, don't. कुछ उसको भी करने दो. उतना बेवकूफ थोड़ी है, वो जानता है. बस अभी आ नहीं रहा है. Yes, next. What does he talk about wise people? Foolish people condemn studies. Wise people use studies. Please be prepared for your exams. That's it for today.